Good afternoon.
Mr. Chris.
What's up, Tony?
What's up, Mr. C? How's your day?
How's it going, Justin? It's pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good.
I hate this class so much.
Oh, you said.
It can't be that bad. I mean, the last day was hot.
I think we're learning
Class
about
of the
small
day.
intestines today.
Hate
You
the
are
small
right, sir.
intestine. I don't want to learn about the
No,
small
me-
intestines today.
Oh, well, too bad. You're going to have to learn about it, Toby.
Aren't you a little young?
Right.
Young to be a English teacher?
Alright.
I may be a little young, but we'll get it going. I got the brains. Youngest student in college ever. 4 years old. Alright, so today we're learning about the small intestine. First, the small intestine is between the stomach and the large intestine. Yes.
What's the difference between the large intestine and the small intestine?
The small intestine is actually longer, but the lumen diameter of the small intestine is smaller than the large intestine, which is why they call it the small intestine, but it is in fact longer than the large intestine.
Pretty cool.
That is very cool. And so, fragmentary support and suspend the intestines. The small intestine is made up of 3 parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and so the last part of the small intestine is the ileum. Hey, what are you doing? I'm teaching here. We don't do that here. And so the duodenum is the smallest part of the small intestine at only 25 centimeters, whereas the jejunum is 2.5 meters long, or roughly around there, with the ileum being the longest part at roughly 3.6 meters. Does anybody have any questions?
You said the jejunum and ileum are around 4 to 6 meters long, sir?
The jejunum and ileum together would be around around 6 meters long in total.
Oh, okay. How does that fit in my stomach? Or am I between my stomach or my large intestine, you know?
It is very folded, and it like loops around itself a lot, so that's how it can fit in a small area. But in reality, I don't know.
So it's coiled inside.
It is very coiled.
Oh, okay.
But an interesting fact about the small intestine is that in dead bodies, it is actually around 20 feet long when it is just straight out.
Dang, that's about as big as my 3.24 times as big as my English teacher, Mr. Sanders.
That is very good information. Is he around 6'2"?
Yes, he actually is. How did you know?
So some common disorders and diseases of the small intestine are actually intestinal cancer. We have some infections like giardiasis, tapeworm, hookworm, bacterial infections, viral infections. We have celiac disease, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, and bleeding. Some symptoms of the major ones like intestinal cancer are going to be abdominal pain, some blood in your stool or poop. There's going to be probably a lump right on your abdomen, and you might just have some weight loss for no reason. Are you okay there, Justin?
Nah, yeah.
What's wrong?
I don't know. All those symptoms that you said, I like have.
So we're going to move on to how you can regulate your small intestine, have it a little more efficient, or if you need it to slow down, having some bad diarrhea.
Mm-hmm.
you need
Yeah, I
to
always
slow
have
it
that.
down. I don't think it's a good thing that you always have it.
Yeah, so tell me how to regulate it, Mr. Chris.
Okay, well let me get to my damn lesson and I will tell you.
Alright, go ahead.
So we got fiber.
Whoa!
You are the student! Fiber! It speeds up your intestinal motility because it irritates your small intestine, which makes it push it through it faster because it doesn't want it in it anymore.
By it, do you mean the chime?
Yes.
Also, the fact that the small intestine can also hold food for 1 to 4 hours, so that could be as how long a chime can be in there.
That is very good information, Megan. That is a gold star, but all I have is this chocolate bar, so here you go.
Oh, well.
Mine.
That is not your chocolate bar.
It's okay, I don't
Mine
like that
now.
anyways.
Okay.
You're a bully. What you gonna do about it,
Then
Justin?
he said the word.
Do you know
Yeah,
that?
he said it isn't the word.
Let me get back to my lesson, class.
Sorry.
Potassium and sodium soothe the small intestine, which would make it stay in a little longer and can slow down your intestinal motility. Some foods, specifically, that can increase your intestinal motility would be vegetables like
Vegetables.
broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, collard greens,
Green
cauliflower, and kale.
Do you mean vegetables?
Yes, that is what I said, Justin.
Okay.
Beans, nuts, and whole grains also help and speed up your intestinal motility. While some foods that are going to slow down your intestinal motility are actually going to be red meats, unripe bananas, processed grains like white rice, white pasta, and white bread. So to slow down your intestinal motility would help with if you were having like diarrhea.
Have that.
We know,
So basically,
but we don't want to know.
basically anything white or red food can be good for you. Or not.
If used in the correct times, it can be good for you, depending on what your intestines need. An interesting fact about the small intestine is that throughout your entire life, until you die, you'll probably have about 50 tons of food and liquid will have actually gone. Get off your phone, bad kid!
My bad. What you gonna do? Take my phone?
So as I was saying, 50 tons of food and liquid will have gone through your intestines by the time you are dead.
Well, isn't
Are
that
you
an
eating in my
interesting thought?
class?
You gave the food away.
Bro, that's my granola bar.
Dumbass.
Does anybody know the function of the small intestine?
I believe I
Yes,
do.
Tohid.
Isn't it to absorb most of the nutrients that food possesses?
I think what he's trying to say is the nutrients that are inside the food that you eat.
Yes, that is what the small intestine does.
Oh, do you have another one?
You have to earn the food in my class.
Okay.
Answer a question and you can have some food.
How about you teach us the class so we can answer it?
I'm stupid.
Bad kid!
Okay, this is nice.
So does anybody know
Can I go to the bathroom?
what's my policy?
You can go to the bathroom.
Exactly, so get out of my class. Does anybody know how the stool is pushed through the small intestine?
The stool?
The poop
The
is
poop.
pushed
Oh,
through
the
the small
poop.
intestine. Okay, so the food actually goes through the small intestine by small contractions, a wave-like contraction to be exact, and it slowly pushes it through the whole entire intestine system.
Sorry, what contracts again? Is it your muscles?
The muscles of your small intestines are what contract. You okay there, Justin?
I didn't make it.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
So, Professor Christopher, how does
Yes.
digestion work?
Digestion works through. Digestion occurs throughout the whole gastrointestinal tract.
Uh-huh,
It's
yeah.
a giant system that starts with your mouth, goes through your esophagus, It's your stomach, your small intestine, and your large intestine. And that's the main. So, there's chyme. I'm gonna need you guys to stop messing around first. But there's chyme, which is stomach acid and food mixed together. And there are a lot of microvilli and villi in the small intestine that increase the contact of the chyme, which would further increase digestion. So class is over. I don't have any more lesson planned. Anybody know where my TA is?
Shiitake mushrooms.
That is disrespectful.
I'm out of class, bro.